just share with you some of the hard skills that begin to answer that question, why. And the first one might seem pretty simple. It's all about preparation. Now, remember, preparation in our business means that you trust your life to the preparation of the mechanics who send you out onto the racetrack and into the corners at 225 miles an hour. But do you think it's a coincidence that when I do my television interviews on the front of the starting grid at the Indy 500, do you think it's a coincidence that I will inevitably see the best painted, best sponsored, best prepared cars right up the front of the grid? And if you look at this picture, the mechanics are immaculately dressed. One of them has his hand on his heart, so it's probably during the national anthem. Now, this team of people know that all of the job lists have been taken care of as well, or maybe even better than the competition. Now, do you think it's a coincidence? When I move to the middle of the grid to my television interviews, there's some pretty good teams there, and they're glad to be in the Indy 500. Now, these teams are already looking forward to teams of people who've already demonstrated they've done a better job. Race hasn't even started yet. Now, do you think it's a coincidence? When I make my way to the back of the grid, I no longer see as many immaculately dressed mechanics. I no longer see as much sponsorship support for these teams on the back of the grid. And if you look closely at this picture, there's a mechanic. He's on his hands and knees. He's got tools in his hands. He's got the rear wing off the car. He's actually working on the gearbox on the starting grid of the largest single-day attended sports event in the world. Now, do you think it's a coincidence? The fallout and the failure rate at Indy also happens to start from the back of the grid and goes forward, because it is directly proportional to the preparation those teams of people put in before they go against their competition. And the back of the grid is inevitably populated by teams of people who probably have all the resources available to them, just didn't avail of them. Or there might be people there who resent things have changed so fast, and they just wish it could be like it was in years past. And of course, it never will be again. But there's a double whammy in our sport to being on the back of the grid. A is you're potentially taking yourself out of a position of advantage. The double whammy is you've given an advantage to somebody else. Now, what makes these presentations really worthwhile to me is if I thought everybody here would take away one nugget that you could use, potentially radiate to people around you in your sphere of influence. You can take away more, but if you took away one, we've had a good mission. This might be one of them. Because let me ask everybody a question here. As regards your preparation, or the preparation of the people within your sphere of influence, where do you think you are on the starting grid for the race you are now in every day? Whenever I ask that question, everybody knows their own personal answer to that. And if you don't see yourself clearly up the front of the grid, you have all the resources available to you to get you there. The closer you see yourself to the front of the grid, the closer you are to emulating those teams of people who in my business get themselves in a position to celebrate on that victory podium more often. So I'd love that every Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day you leave your house, when you lock the door, I'd love everybody to say to themselves, as regards my preparation, or the preparation of the people within my sphere of influence, where am I? Where are we on the starting grid as regards preparation for the race we're now in every day? And if that adds to your giftedness and nudges you along to the edges and boundaries of what might be possible for you, can you imagine the delight it would be for me that my sport maybe could be part of that analogy to just nudge people towards the outer edges of their giftedness?